Because my understanding is that you've come here over and over. This should be the fourth time, right? Yeah. And so let me personally thank you for the great job you are doing. Coming to listen to the council, what he has to say on issues that concern our country. As you know, he's running for president, and he's the standard bearer of the Liberian People's Party.
Giving of her daughter. All the papers carry a headline, which is good. I want to applaud the media for making it a topical issue by putting a front page on the headline. But my disappointment is actually with the government. Even though the vice president went to visit her and speaker and a few other people, but the issue has not been given the type of attention it should have, in terms of combating crime, but also showing concern for a citizen of Liberia or citizens of Liberia who were affected. Look, I was in America last year during the Independence Day, July 4th. A gunman got up and went and killed some people on July 4th in a city in Illinois, in the state of Illinois. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, condemned it, expressed sympathy with the family. The Vice President condemned it, expressed sympathy with the family. The Governor of the state of Illinois condemned it and made it a topical issue and assure the family that the government will get to the bottom, that there will be investigation. The Attorney General of the United States condemned it. The Attorney General of the state of Illinois, the police commissioner, and on a daily basis, the police commissioner and the Attorney General of the state of Illinois were briefing the public to show that the government is concerned about rule of law and protection of human lives. Except for what is in the newspaper, I haven't heard any briefings, any briefing. I didn't get briefing the other day, and there's no briefing today yet. I'm not sure there will be any briefing. It is required for the police to keep the public informed about something grave as this. And not just because it involves a former Chief Justice, someone who was Senator. She was also Chairman of the Elections Commission, Minister of Justice at one time, and more recently, Chairman of the Constitutional Review Commission, and a professor at the law school, University of Liberia. But the reason her issue is important is if something as serious as that can happen to her after she had notified the government 2 times, what hope is there for the ordinary person in Liberia? I'm not even talking about those of us who are contesting for the highest office and other people who are doing controversial jobs, other former high officials of government. But just the ordinary people, what hope is there? If the government can be so negligent. I mean, I was angry when I saw the police. The right to life is the number 1 right that is accorded every human being. And the government does not show any seriousness about the protection of the right to life, what hope is there for other Liberians? And it contradicts the government's own overriding motto of change for hope. Because something like what happened to the Chief Justice's daughter and what happened to the former Chief Justice, what happened to her and her daughter, actually undermines hope. It creates hopelessness and despair. It even creates fear and intimidation. Nobody can operate well in a society that is controlled by fear. Because government has to show seriousness, because something like this will scare any investor abroad not to come to Liberia. Because when they hear that there were 3 attacks at the former Chief Justice's house, and one of them led to the death of one of the occupants of the house, obviously people will be afraid. And what is more concerning to me is that we shouldn't even call it armed robbery attack. I think it was an attempt to assassinate the former Associate Justice, because that little girl, I believe, I don't know why do I say so, according to her, they took 2 of her phones and they also took a laptop. These are not ordinary criminals. They didn't take television, they didn't take any valuable item, they didn't take money. In one of the first visits, they took documents from her car. This last visit, they took phones and they took laptops. Government has to be serious to get to the bottom of this. Already there is this speculation that people in government, we've heard people at high level of government crisscrossing accusations about the government being involved in the killing of auditors and all of that. So there's suspicion over the government's own credibility when it comes to combating crime. On this one, the government must turn the lead and show seriousness. We should not hear that a commission has been set up or some committee, involving different people in society, the president, and all of that to investigate. We have people who have statutory responsibility to combat crime and to investigate crime, who have been trained, some of them with external training. The history has shown in recent years that whenever government says it is setting up a board of investigators or a commission to investigate, that's another way of just putting that issue aside. Because they know this is a society in which issues keep coming up. Next week, there might be another issue, or the week following, that might be more urgent than this one. Pretty soon people forget. You are press people, you know about the Cllr Commission. I think it's almost 2 years or so. Nothing has come out. So I don't have faith in government establishing commissions to deal with burning issues. I was in government. When I left government, right in this office, I was appointed by President Cllr to chair a special investigation in 2011 on the GW Gazing and the police encounter that led to a lot of injuries among the police officers and students. One of the students, a young lady who was in 12th grade, she was a hunchback. She had a hunchback, and based on physical disability, she was worse hit by the police. She took 15 stitches. We investigated and made recommendations that the police director should be suspended, and the deputy for operation dismissed. The president did not act. Until after 1 month, the press checked on and said, "What has happened to this report?" She said, "Yeah, I got a Gongloe Commission report, but the recommendations are too harsh." What is harsh about people losing their job or being punished a job compared to injuries, permanent injuries, like the young lady who took 15 stitches? So I don't have any confidence in government appointing a commission to deal with burning issues like this. It's another way to make people forget over time. That's just a shock absorber that government uses. And so I'm calling upon President Weah in this election year to do everything to investigate and get to the bottom of what happened at the former Chief Justice's house. Because what happened will honor my faith in the peace that we have in Liberia. Many things have happened already. Many things have happened. And because of that, people have little trust in government's ability or commitment to protect lives in this country. See, we usually talk about the role of the police is to protect life and property. Life first before property. If life is not protected, then property means nothing. So that's my call on the government. I'm calling on President Weah to give number one attention to this issue. Just as the president has done, all the papers are giving it number one attention. So this should guide government already and say, what is important today in Liberia? It is this issue. Every paper, New Democrat, Observer, Analyst, the Independent, all the papers, all the papers. So it means this is what is important to Liberian people today. And the press, that is the mouthpiece of the people, is showing.
Councillor, what do you make of one of your colleagues, Councillor Verdict, trying to link one of your citizen to this allegation? Do you see this very prudent enough on when a statement of such will come to link a government official? And these have been rumors that the government of Liberia has been involved into the numerous acts against peaceful citizens. One, it took place, like you said, against the
auditors.
Another one was done against our former peace, the late peace ambassador, Ambassador Tobo, and other Liberians who have been killed and murdered in Cllr.
The fact that someone who is very important in playing a key role and is considered one of the president's kitchen cabinet members is being accused, in my view, is even a greater reason why the president should be very serious to get to the bottom of this issue and should leave no stone unturned. In fact, the president should be inviting, should tell people to give whatever information they have to the police so that the government can get to the bottom. And the government should not get angry with Cllr Jerome Brady or anyone who makes a statement. What is important is for the government to ask that person to cooperate with the investigation, provide reasons. Because beyond public statement, there can be detailed report that can be given. We succeeded in an investigation of the fracas between the police and the GD education students because we called to the public to give us information. Somebody brought out a video and made our investigation so easy. It is that video that helped us to reach a conclusion. So the government should not discount any information. So it should show a complete willingness to get to the bottom, but not even reacting to statements like the one from Jerome Brady, except to say, we want more information, we want you to cooperate with the government. We want to know the sources of your information so that the government gets to it. The accused persons have a right to immediately defend themselves, but the government should not discount anything.
So Friday, the police briefed the press and basically they said on the preliminary investigation at the house there or no forceful penetration at the house, and also said that there have been some painters who have been around and they cannot, I'm talking about accusation coming up. If painters are around and there was no forceful penetration, people accusing government officials, what is your own take, as the police take up on the investigation?
Well, I mean, as long as police are not getting to the bottom, we should investigate. Look, we had a case here involving the police. A Steve Bender, I think the thing happened in Gardensville area. A Steve Bender who came to in one place, to Steve Benning, used some kind of key, I don't know what he did, to open the gate, went out, grabbed a young lady from a nightclub, brought her, whatever happened, raped her, and killed her, and threw the body over the fence. When the police checked, there was no break-in. The Steve Bender, well, he said he was in a room and all of that. The police arrested a reverend who was the occupant and caretaker of the building, and he was in jail. Something happened, and somebody arrested for some crime had talked with the steel bender, and the steel bender had confessed and said, they just got a reverend for nothing. I'm the one who did it. That is how we got to the bottom of the case, and the police was able to release the reverend, and the place the police was looking was not where the crime came from. Finally, the steel bender actually confessed to the police. So sometimes, preliminarily, what is seen may not be. Because you know, criminals are smarter than people. There are people who have master keys, who can open door. There have been criminals who have been arrested in the town with all kinds of keys. They can enter and get out. So the police should go beyond, should investigate, talk to people around it. You know, do thorough investigation and not stop at their preliminary findings. I'm sure they call it preliminary findings.
Okay. And so with fairly hit most of the election, and especially regarding the case with the former Chief Justice, there have been this call by senators from Capitol Hill regarding self-protection. One person who raises the issue is your own senator who's recommending to Cllr to enact a law that way he wouldn't carry back by drinking from the senator
I'm opposed to citizens of Liberia carrying arms all over. The law, what they're proposing is not even correct. To say only senators or general lawmakers should protect themselves. If they want to make a law that all Liberians should be allowed to protect themselves, that could be a debatable issue. But the issue they raise should be thrown out of the window. We didn't elect them for themselves to seek their own welfare. We elected them to seek our welfare, to be concerned about our protection collectively. How can they do that? They are servants, or should be servants of the people. We in our collectivity are their masters. We are their employers. How can they say their employees should be protected and we employers should not be protected? No, I don't agree with them. It's wrong. They're on the wrong side.
So, Councillor, do you also see this as a weakness from the side of the government? We can remember a year or two back when President George Manawiya was able to be clear to Liberian people that the government cannot protect the safety of the people, so everyone should either have a CC camera placed on their homes in order to protect and also be able to have their home that will serve as a security to them. Do you see this still going? Because we're still seeing, killings are still ongoing, brutality against peaceful citizens, attack, and up to current, we cannot just see the findings. Those who are involved into the attitude. Do you drag this to the president's formal statement?
No president should ever say that the government is unable or lacks the capacity to protect the people. Because I told you earlier that is the number one function for the existence of any government. So why should a government say so? That statement of inability, if there was strong opposition in the legislature, could be a cause for impeachment, because he has openly confessed that he is unable to protect the Liberian people. And we elected him to protect us. Look, in other countries, the CCTV he's talking about has been purchased by government and placed all in the streets on light poles everywhere. Crime-infested areas are guarded by police and all of that. And they are able to protect the citizens of the country. You cannot be saying, we are not. You see Rwanda? I've been to Rwanda 2 times. And you can walk in the street of Kigali 3 o'clock in the morning and not be afraid. There are armed police all over the place, in the communities. I said, no, that they went through war. They were exposed, the young people were exposed to crimes, to carry arms, and all of that. Our president should not discourage us, should not, that's creating hopelessness, should not make us lose hope in the government by saying, oh, we are unable to protect you. No, that is wrong. The government should be striving to improve on its capacity to protect, not to say we are unable. How many Liberians, majority of Liberian, over 90% of the Liberian people are poor people. They can't even afford to buy a 25 kg bag of rice. And you are telling them to buy CCTV. Not many of us who are lawyers have the financial capacity to buy CCTV and to keep generator on to make sure that the CCTVs are powered. So that's a wrong to say government is not able to protect the citizen. That statement should be followed by, I therefore resign from being president of Liberia.
The staff will just having press conferences and issue press releases. To what extent do you expect opposition people like you to move this entire before the chief justice issue?
The government has a responsibility to investigate. If the government refuses to investigate, the next thing is to file a mandamus to compel the government to investigate. But we haven't reached a stage they are investigating. All right? There's nothing that ordinary people can do, lawyers and all of that. I'm standard bearer of a political party, and I'm calling on the president of Liberia to make this a #1 priority. Not because it involves a former chief justice, but the implication for the ordinary people is bad. That if it can happen to a president who should be entitled to protection, what about us who are going to the market, who are working in the night, who are going to farm alone? Because one of the things, I've traveled to about 130 towns in Liberia, and the #1 thing I keep hearing point in the interior is hardman business. This hardman. They say we are afraid to go on the farm. The last time we went to any center, said we can't even go on the farm anymore. When I was growing up in the interior in Mela public school, my father used to say, when you come from school, come on the farm. So I and my mother, in fact, because my father was teaching. I come from school, I alone, 7 years old, I'm walking the road to the farm. And I never felt afraid. Today, even 15-year-old young people are afraid to walk on the road alone. That level of insecurity, the only person that can deal with that is the president of Liberia, the government of Liberia. At least can calm people's fears by taking actions. You know, so there's nothing we can do.
Because I was just mentioning that in too many instances of serial deaths, serial killings, not much has been done by opposition because they are the ones who've been raising this drive.
Opposition don't have power. Opposition is doing what opposition should do. Flagging the issue.
But consider you
calling upon the government to take action.
Consider you are despite you being a political figure, or you are one of those human rights lawyers that people look up to for some of these human rights issues. I mean, you as a citizen of Liberia, don't you think you have the right, like you said, you could file a writ of mandamus against the government to demand them, because there have been instances.
No, the Supreme Court has had several rulings on ordinary people filing. Supreme Court has said if the matter does not involve you, you suffer no injury, then you don't have any standing to file. The citizen solidarity case was dismissed. Several cases have been.
It does not affect you as a citizen of the country because you could be attacked.
No, that's what the Supreme Court has said. just being a citizen and having interest in any issue does not give you the legal capacity to sue. It does not give you the legal standing to sue. All right? For example, the girl's family members, this deceased young lady's family member could sue because they are mentally injured and all of that, right? But there have been several opinions of the Supreme Court that have said having interest in any matter of public that affects the public is not sufficient to give you the legal standing to sue. The ECOWAS court has that theory. It believes in a doctrine, has adapted the doctrine of assured popularity, that any matter of public interest is something that anybody can file an action on. So we've had cases like that that have gone to ECOWAS court and have been won. So the other issue, and let's not make it an argument. This is a press briefing. As a press briefing, unless there's another issue.
There's another issue I want to bring up.
Let's hear.
During the weekend, the police leader has just sued now, talking about petition and recording on the legislature that the police work as compared to the armed forces. But there's a specific day set aside for armed forces. They themselves one similar, days so that the police can be recognized, as compared to the armed forces. You being a lawyer, do you see anything?
I don't consider that a burning issue right now. I work with the police, I was Solicitor General. Let me tell you something. I think the police should distinguish itself and make itself a friend of the people. Make the people to rely on it and say, oh, we'll go to the police. But the police has not reached that level. The ordinary people in the street tend to respect the AFL when the AFL is in action more than the police. Example, when the AFL is controlling the SKD stadium during games, people come up with a view that there's more order than when the police act. So the police needs to endear itself to the Liberian people by its action, being disciplined, being committed to its work, generating the respect of the people by its professionalism. People feel bad when they see police people begging for hand out every day. Your police, and all that. As a presidential candidate, I've heard that plenty. Oh yeah, you buy you going, but your police, the coffee, these undermine respect for the police. Police should operate in such a way that, in fact, it should be so action-oriented. When something happens, anywhere, police should be there. And people say, the police is here. That is what the IG should be promoting. He should be promoting, working in such a way that you have a professional police force that even when strangers come here from other countries on the news, they say, the Liberian police is nothing to joke with. Like I'm talking about the Kigali police, the Rwandan police. I want other people to say the same thing. But when they do that, the people of Liberia will be calling for increasing the budget of the police and all of that. They don't want to be advocating for the police. When you reach a point and you are advocating for yourself, then something is wrong. It should be the people advocating for you because the police is there for our protection. All right? So that is there any other issue?
Yeah, let me just bring it to a point. Maybe this could be the last issue. Recently, there has been an argument built pushed forth at the Liberian Senate where they are calling for the issue of pension should be awarded to some of those retired lawmakers, especially where you are serving public office and now you live in certain amount of money should be given to you every year until maybe you get expired. I mean, is this very suitable looking at Liberia?
Again, at the other issue of selfishness, the lawmakers are the people's deputies, as the French people call them. They are the agents of the people. They are not there for themselves. They are there to advocate for our protection and our welfare, to apportion the budget in such a way that it protects us and seek our welfare. The health system, the educational system, road network, everything we need to generally live a comfortable life in Liberia. Because like I usually say, Liberia is not a naturally poor country. Liberia is poor by choice. Choice of people we elect to go in the legislature and the people we elect to go in the executive mansion. They are the ones that have shown complete lack of capacity and commitment to manage our resources for our protection and welfare, to the extent that generally everybody will be happy. Because until that happens in this country, Liberia will not be united, Liberia will not be reconciled. Because there can be no reconciliation between a very rich man and a very poor man. The very poor man is angry, a hungry man is an angry man. In a country where you have mass deprivation like this, where more people are poor, peace will always be undermined. When you have very few people enjoying the income generated from the resources of the country, and majority of the people are poor, the conversations are different. You cannot reconcile them. You cannot unite them. That is why the 2023 election is very important, because we need to elect a president who cares not for himself or herself, but who cares 99% for the people. Until we do that, Liberia will remain a poor country. We'll continue to live this contradiction where it is naturally rich, but in actuality, it is poor. This poverty is by choice. We are not a poor country.
So I'd like to thank you very much, Councillor. Thanks so much for speaking to your friends again. I mean, this